What is happening in healthcare digital marketing? It is Tuesday night, and you know what that means. It's Tuesday Night Fever, and tonight we are going deep on how to absolutely dominate Facebook live streams. Now, I think that we have just a little bit of a reason to say that Facebook live streams can be a really important part of your business because they have literally formed the backbone of our business as Will and I have built it over the past year and a half. And it's gotten to the point to where I think that we could do nothing else other than Facebook live streams and run our business. I mean, ultimately, that's kind of what we've done up to this point. Really, really. And so I want to tell you how to get really confident on a Facebook Live. Whether or not you're just starting off, if you've never even done one before and you're like, holy cow, I don't know where to start, I'm going to give you my exact process tonight. Or if you've been in the game for a while, you've been doing them and you feel like you just need something to spice them up, you're not getting nearly as much engagement as you feel like you should, we're going to give you everything tonight. This came because we've just had so many questions about this in the group. People who were just starting and feeling like, oh, I want to get out there. And then those who were like, look, guys, I've been doing this and it hasn't been working for me. What am I doing wrong? And when we go back and look through people's live streams, it becomes really apparent very quickly what they've been missing. And so I've distilled it down to 7 different steps that I walk through. Usually, you know me, I'm all about threes, right? I love threes. I couldn't get it down to 3 things, okay? I just couldn't because there's a lot to it, right? But I'm going to break it down really clearly tonight. And I want to know if you're on here right now. By the way, shout out to everyone coming on really quickly here. We got Heather on, Elizabeth's on, Tammy, Jeff. Thank you for coming on, Jeff. I appreciate you, man. Jeff's going to be tagging everyone for us tonight. Michael's on, Cheyenne, Andrew, Sharon, Andrew again, AT this time. Tracy is on. Hopefully we'll see you at Funnel Hacking Live next week, Tracy. Cannot wait. You guys, next week is the biggest marketing nerd fest on the planet. And I'm going to be there for an entire week along with Will. It's in Nashville, which I hear is going to be cold, but it can't be too much colder than Utah. So I'm looking forward to that. And I just can't wait to see a bunch of y'all out there. We're going to have a massive PT, just a massive PT movement out there. And it's just so cool to see so many physical therapists getting so interested in the marketing side. I think the face of marketing physical therapy is going to look so different over the next 5 years because there's so many of us now really diving into it, really nerding out on it. And it's really fun. So Mark, thanks for coming on. Greg as well. All right. I've got a question for you. Are you a total noob or are you a pro with Facebook Live? Okay. Really what I want to know is, if you had to estimate about how many Facebook Lives do you think you've done? If you haven't done any of them, just put 0 down below. If you feel like you've done 1 million of them, then that's fine to say 1 million. But just guesstimating, right? How many Facebook Lives have you done? I want you to put it in the comments right now because that will shape how we go about tonight. If there's more of you who are new to it, we'll bias towards that. If there's more who have done 1 million of them, we'll do that as well. If I had to guesstimate, I would say that I've probably done somewhere around 120 Facebook Lives. Maybe. I'd have to go back and see. I've been doing them very consistently for about a year now on Tuesday night. And before that, obviously we were in the group a lot. And before that, I did it live. I went live for like 30 days straight and had some form of content. So I'm sure I'm pushing 100. That I'd have to put somewhere around 100. But let's talk about, Jeff, you're tagging people like crazy. Thank you so much. Roy says 3. John says only 2. Both live DJ mixes though. Good stuff, man. All right. So let's talk about, Will says 72.3. Man, you've done a lot of them with me. You've been right there, dude. All right. Here is the checklist that I go through as I'm getting ready for my live streams. And this is something that now, as I've been into it so much, I've got this process down. Like it's just, I can just do it. I can crank it out. If I had no prep whatsoever, it would still be the same process about 30 seconds before I go live with it. Okay. This works whether or not you're just starting or if you're a total pro at it. But there are going to be a couple things in here that I'd like you to look at and see what do you feel like you need to focus on over the next week or for your next live stream. That's what I really want you focusing on is what's the next thing that I need to do, okay? We're avoiding overwhelm by focusing on one thing. Step one is, for me, visualizing my audience. That comes in two forms, okay? Number one is I'm thinking about who is my target audience tonight for this content. And not just like, oh, it's PTs in healthcare. No, I'm thinking about, this is for someone who feels overwhelmed with video and they know that they need to be doing more of it, but they don't really feel confident in it. That's my target audience, okay? We got to get really specific with what their problems are. I've talked about that in other videos, but number one is figuring out who that audience is. And part 1-2 is I actually picture someone in my mind who is in my target audience, who I'm friends with, who I'm comfortable talking with. And I sit down as if I were on a Zoom call with them or on a video chat with them. That's really what I'm doing here. If you're not comfortable with video calls, then just imagine that you're having a conversation with a friend, right? Like, it doesn't have to be some formal thing. It doesn't have to be quote unquote professional. The video quality doesn't have to be the best. We're at the point now where I use a podcasting microphone and a nice camera because we're podcasting this stuff, right? And I am on a camera all day, so now we've invested in this. But early on, like, I was using my phone. I still use my phone all the time. It's a great live streaming device, right? But I'm picturing the person in my head who I want to talk to. So right now, there are two people in my head. One of them is a novice at Facebook live streaming, and another is a pro at Facebook live streaming, because I know that there are two different people that I'm talking to. So I have to hit both of those, and I have those two people in my mind. I know one of them is on here right now. The other one I don't think I've seen yet. So that's number one, visualize your audience. Number two is you've got to choose your content. You need to plan out the content just beforehand. I know this is super basic, but I want you to think back to last week's Tuesday Night Fever. If you haven't seen it, you need to go see it. It was a really good one, and not nearly as many people saw it as I would have hoped, because it wasn't as hypey and stuff, and it wasn't as sexy, but it's actually a really important point of how to create and plan your content. There are 3 different types of posts that I talk about that really most Facebook posts fall into one of these 3 categories. Number 1, the saga post. Number 2, the bullet post. Or number 3, the ladder post. So before you go to do your next Facebook Live, go back and check out that one. I think it's called, you could just put, if you want to, we can link you to it, but you could just type in healthcare digital marketing, look at 3 core post types or something, or like types of posts or content types. It's in there last year. If someone finds the link to it, they can drop it here in the live stream. But you have to know what you're going to talk about beforehand. This week, my content was beefy. This was a lot beefier than it usually is. So I got a whole like cheat sheet here, right? I usually don't go to this effort, but tonight, because there's 7 different things that I was hitting, I had to. Usually, to be honest, I just have a sticky note, you guys. I take a sticky note, I write down my 3 core points so that I know them and in order, and I just put them right up here, right underneath my camera. Y'all can't see it, but it's right there. That's how I live stream. And I think that it's good to have that structure going into it and know what your flow is going to look like, so that you don't feel like, I don't know what to say next. It's like, you know what, if you feel yourself rambling, look at your next point and move on, okay? Have a source of content, though, that you're pulling from, either saga, bullet, or ladder post. Again, go back to the last Tuesday Night Fever, or if you're listening to the podcast, last podcast episode to hear that, okay? Step 3 is to actually plan out the structure of that content and to think of the flow. So now that we know what type of content we're going to be doing, if it's a saga post, a bullet post, or a ladder post, I want you to plan out the flow of it. I really like the power of 3s, okay? I really am a fan of condensing a process into 3 simple steps. It's like any story, right? Before, during, after. It just makes inherent sense to me when I'm thinking about it, and it makes it more understandable to your audience. So I want you to think about, what's the problem that someone's going to have? What's the solution that you would present to them? And what's that resolution going to look like after they try that? Maybe that's your 3 points, right? Either way, I always recommend, tell people, there's this phrase, and I use this in our mini course, Social Secrets. And it's by someone else who's far smarter than me, who ran seminars all the time. He said, tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. And it's basically saying you're going to preface what you're going to teach with people. You're going to say, for example, tonight I'm teaching you about the 7 different steps that you need to plan out to get your live stream down, right? So I tell you what I'm going to tell you, and then I tell you, And then I tell you what I told you. It's the most confusing thing ever, I know. But basically, you're prefacing what you're going to tell people. Then you actually teach it. And then you review it after the fact. I always plan out my content that way so that it's understandable. I'm getting repetition in at least 3 times. So that's step 3, is you're going to plan your actual content flow. Okay. Number 4 is you've got to dial in your copy. This is probably number 1, if not number 2, the number 1 or number 2 problem that I see people make, or the biggest mistake that I see people make with their content. And that is that they think, hey, video is the bomb on Facebook, so I'm just going to video this up, right? I'm just going to throw up a video and I'll be good. Well, what we fail to realize is that you still have to get someone interested enough to watch the video in the first place, and that comes through your text, okay? I have given a million different varieties of text that I use. The perfect post formula, for example, is one. Works amazingly. That's what I use for almost all of my posts, because it inherently gets attention at the beginning. We give context, and then we're giving a call to action. Go back through and listen to that episode of Tuesday Night Fever. You can type it up in our Facebook group. I have a whole cheat sheet on that as well. But your copy, the words that you use before your video, the written text, matter completely. And it can't be about you. It has to be about your target audience and why they're going to want to listen to you. Okay. And I'm also not giving them everything that I'm going to tell them in the live stream. You're teasing them, guys. It's like the front of a magazine, right? As you get into marketing, you realize that magazine headlines and newspaper headlines are really, really good to study. Like, yes, sure, maybe it's total crap, but it's really fun for me now when I'm in the grocery store checkout and my daughters are begging me to like buy gum, which is always, it's always gum. I don't know why. Maybe my breath smells, or maybe they think theirs does. But I'm always sitting there looking at magazine headlines because I'm seeing like, how are they trying to capture attention? Because you know that the whole goal of the headline of the magazine is just to get you to buy the thing or to open it up, right? It's the same with the text on your video. It's got to be engaging, got to get them to open up. My sniff test for this is, if I were scrolling my Facebook newsfeed and I were busy, would I open this video? Would I hit play on this video based on the words that I use? If it's like, oh, that's boring, all right, then work on it a little bit more. I actually spend about 10 minutes writing the copy for my videos before I do it. A lot of times when it's Tuesday Night Fever, I'm writing it for the hype post beforehand, right, when I'm announcing it. And then I'll go in and use that similar copy for the live video. But that's a really important part, okay? So that's number 4. Number 5 is one that y'all have probably noticed. I don't know if you've noticed this, but on healthcare digital marketing in our live streams, like, we're a little bit over the top in terms of our energy, right? I am not sitting down in conversations with people day to day, talking like this, using my hands like this, right? And Facebook, by the way, Facebook always captures my hands up like this. This will probably be the shot right there that they use. But my energy has to get amped up when I go live. Why? Because I'm not there in person with you guys. And so much of that in-person communication gets lost. And by the way, like, a lot of live video is about entertaining people, right? So I always think about, like, your energy has to probably 5 to 10x what you normally would if you were talking to someone. Because imagine right now, if I said, like, okay, live stream starting, doink. Hey guys, this is Tuesday Night Fever, and I'm going to talk to you about making your videos better. And the other day, like, I was thinking about video, right? Like, no. My wife, after live streams, my wife always is like, Alex, why were you so mad on that live stream? I was like, no, I wasn't mad. I promise. I just had to get the energy up, because people are going to feel your energy so much through the live stream. If you're not excited about it, they're not going to be. Amp your energy up, okay? It doesn't mean you have to be crazy flamboyant. To be honest, the more you can get that excited, the more people are going to respond to it, okay? The more energy and passion you have into it, the more people are going to believe you, etc. So, number 5, amp up your energy. By the way, a couple people have been shouting out checklist. Katie, Keats, here's what I want you to do. If you want, I've made this whole little checklist here for myself. I'm making it pretty for you guys. If you want the checklist when I release it, just comment checklist below and I'll send it over to you, or I'll send you the link to get it. I was just making it earlier in Canva and didn't quite get it finished in time for the live stream. But if you want this checklist for when you're going through, let me know. Number 6 is you have to prompt engagement. And this is probably the hardest thing for people to learn. And Will and I are still learning it. Like, let's be really honest, right? Will and I are still learning it just like you guys are. But you have to ask for people to engage during your live stream. Even if your content is amazing, even if your video is awesome, your energy's there, the content's there, if you don't ask people to engage, the barrier to them clicking their thumbs on the screen is actually pretty high. So you have to ask for that. We share, I think it's 8 different question types that we use for how to prompt engagement in our course, Social Secrets. And it's pretty simple, but you have to think about it beforehand. It's not natural to do because you get going with your content, you get sidelined, and you don't engage with people. Part of engaging with people is looking down at the screen and seeing who's on here. So like Elizabeth, you just asked for the checklist. I'll make sure to get it to you. Josh, who's crushing things online, I'll get you the checklist. Matt, you too. AT, I've got an interview with you in a few minutes, brother. I know that you're on here. But engagement, let's talk about engagement for a minute. How do you get people to engage? Number one, you got to be talking about something that people care about. But then we have to ask questions that someone cares to answer, and that, in my opinion, is an easy answer. You've got 2 types of question. One that's an easy type of answer. Like tonight, I talked about how many live streams have you done? Because I was genuinely curious to see at what point you guys are at. And a few of you said, like you're earlier on. Will is obviously killing it in the live streams. But ask questions about where people are at in their life, or where people that are at relative to what you're teaching. Ask people if they agree or disagree with you. Ask them if they have seen something similar, right? There's all sorts of different questions that you can prompt people with. If you have something that you're giving away during your live stream, like we are, like our checklist, ask for people to comment below for that. Every single time you get someone to comment on your post or comment on your live video, it makes more people see it. So right now, by the way, if this is valuable for you, I would love it if you would hit the little like button or the love button. What that actually does, every time someone presses that like or love button, it pushes this video up into probably 10 to 20 more people's news feeds. Like literally that's what happens. So if you feel like this is useful right now, it would mean the world to me if you would press that little like button. Look at them all streaming in. Thank you guys. 3 of them. You guys rock. The 3 who pressed it. Prompt engagement. Okay. Last thing is number 7, you have to engage after the fact. Meaning once the video is over, you have to go back in and still engage with people. Oh, there's all the Elizabeth. Thank you so much. Oh, look at those hearts. Oh, thank you. And it's almost Valentine's Day, so I appreciate those. But engaging after the fact is what keeps putting your video back up into the Facebook newsfeed. A lot of people have told us that they feel like we're putting out a ton of content right now. Interestingly, we're actually only creating one. I am only creating one new sort of big piece of content every week. It's Tuesday Night Fever. But because I'm engaging after the fact, I respond to comments after the fact. I'll tag people later on when it's like, oh, hey, you should go see this video. And that stuff gets put back up into people's news feeds all over again as if it were fresh content. Whether or not it was made yesterday or 2 years ago. In fact, it would be interesting to see if I were to take one post that we made. There's one specific one about 2 years ago that did really, really well. I'm sure that if I commented on it right now, it would probably put it up in front of 150 to 200 new people this week, right? Keeping your content like that in people's news feeds is what gets them aware of you over time. It just extends the life of your content. And I want you to think about the number of people who see you live is probably about 1/6 the number that will see your content total. Okay. So as you comment and engage after the fact, keep conversations going in the comment section. That's just what keeps it going. Okay. This is just my short checklist that I mentally think through when I'm going to do live streams. It's number 1, visualize my audience. Think about who it is, specifically who it is that I'm talking to tonight and what problem they're having that I'm going to be solving. And I picture someone in my target audience so that I can talk to them as if I were actually talking to them, right? Number 2 is I'm choosing what type of content, what type of post I'm going to create. I'm balancing it out. Tonight was a ladder post. Next week, maybe I'll do a saga post or a bullet post, but I'm choosing that type of content. Then I'm planning how I'm going to deliver it. Usually I'm separating it into 3 different segments and thinking how that flow is going to go. Number 4, I dial in my copy. So I make sure that my words are good in my post, that they engage people to click on the play now button. Number 5, I'm upping my energy right before that live stream. I'm getting hyped. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen Tony Robbins before he goes on stage, but he has a trampoline that he goes on. He's like sitting there jumping on it, and he does some circles. It's like, whoo! I'll listen to pump up music before live streams, right? Like it has to get you amped up, whatever you do, right? 10x your energy. Next, you prompt engagement. Got to be asking for that. And finally, you follow up after the fact, engage on your video. That is I called it earlier on here, the 7 habits of highly effective live streamers. I don't know what the final checklist is going to be called. Maybe it's confident live streams. I don't know. Killing it on the lives. Who knows? But this is how I approach it. And this has worked very well for our business. I'm completely comfortable in front of a live stream now. I can tell you I was not 2 years ago. I was absolutely not, for many reasons. But a big part of this, guys, is just practice. Incorporate these 7 things into your next live stream. I think it will give you a lot of organization. I know as PTs, as healthcare providers, we like to know, like, okay, what do I do? Give me the steps. These are the steps, okay? Was this useful to you guys? Let me know if this was valuable. Just say useful or valuable below. Then I'll know to make more stuff like this. I am curious, though, because I have no more time left. I'm going on a podcast with Andrew Tyler next. But I would love to hear, as a parting question, what are you most nervous of in your live streams? And we'll make stuff for you. We'll make content for you around that. Is it planning it? Is it knowing what to talk about? Is it okay, let's give you some categories. Is it knowing what content to talk about? Is it delivery of that content? Or is it knowing how to engage with people on the live stream? Which of those 3 is most nerve-wracking to you? What most makes you feel like, ooh, I don't know if I could do that? Is it planning it and figuring out what content to deliver? Is it actually delivering that content, or is it the engagement part after? Let us know below. A bunch of people say this is useful. Thank you guys so much. This has been Tuesday Night Fever. Again, if you're on here to the end, if you didn't request the checklist yet, just comment checklist below. We'll get it to you when it goes live. Thank you so much. We'll see you on the next one.